Hi everyone, this is Arcadius and welcome back to Naval Creed. We haven't done a video in quite some time, but that's because I've been waiting for new ships or new events to go over, and this is the first update in which we actually get both of that. We have a new update and quite a few ships, including some that you might find surprising. But before that, there have been some additional updates before this one that have not had a lot of new content, but it's still new content. So we can go over like new camos. There's actually even a new function in the game, which is actually what we're going to be going over today. And we'll start with the event missions tomorrow, but I will also show you what ships we'll be going over in the upcoming future. I did switch my port, as you could see, and we'll get to that as to why I did that in a moment. But before this, we're going to go over all the updates that we have missed out on so far, so you can kind of get an idea of what is coming up. So let me switch over to there. All right, so this is the first update since the last video we did on Yushen. So there is a new Japanese destroyer, Hakaze, available in the special shop. That is the rank point destroyer that has the 7 torpedo tube torpedo mounts. I don't have her, nor do I have any real interest in getting her, so we may not have a video on her for quite some time, because there's plenty of other rank point ships I would like to have in my fleet before that. We have another sister ship of Project 24, which for me is Kremlin. We have like a volcanic rock one, which is Komarov for me. And then we have a nice and gorgeous blue camo now. I've named that Kara. We will look at that, as well as many other camos that have come out already once we get back to the game. This auto-firing feature, we'll talk more about that later. In this specific update, it never actually came out. It did come out in one about a couple weeks later. And like I said, that is what we're going to be going over today in our own video. But we'll get there when we get there. U.S. Cruiser Norfolk. As strong as a cruiser as she already was, she just got even stronger. Not only does she have 12-inch guns, not only does she have a Baltimore hull and superstructure, not only does she have pretty much Illinois secondaries and already really good anti-aircraft defense and one of the best radars in the game, she now has access to anti-air barrage, which is the same one that Cheyenne gets, the rank point Super Atlanta. You can get 250% anti-air damage. It only attacks on one target, it looks like. But oh man, she really didn't need this. It's kind of going back to how Scharnhorst got hydroacoustic search. It's just another one of those things where you didn't need it, and now she's just that much more stronger. I mean, I love Norfolk, don't get me wrong. She's one of the best diamond ships out there, and she's at the top of my list. But I don't really think it was needed. She's just that much more stronger now. And then some changes to Minotaur right there. So that is the first update. The next one is a developmental dialogue. We actually have two of these to go over. So there's a lot of information here. So if you actually want to read it, you can pause the video and read it that way if you haven't already read it on Facebook. But I'll just briefly sum it up. At the bottom, there's work on a new anti-aircraft cruiser for the British Navy. It's going to be a light cruiser based off of the Minotaur hull, but with some different armaments. And this is the history of those, so I'll kind of go slow. So if you do want to pause and read it, feel free to do so. That is actually quite interesting. There's an interesting caliber of main guns that we'll be using. Instead of the 152s, we will have 144s. And we'll have 4 twin barrels, and then along the sides of the ship we'll have 6 single-barreled 4-inch, and that will pretty much be the armament. I don't remember. Yeah, okay, so it says the torpedo launchers will be placed elsewhere. It might be reduced due to balancing, so there will be torpedoes as well, but this is going to be a very heavy anti-aircraft light cruiser, which is good because I hate aircraft and I love shooting them down. So I'm looking forward to this ship. It's also going to have apparently a very high muzzle velocity. Apparently the real gun was supposed to have 1800 meters per second. considering the fastest we have in the game that's not a special ship is 1,000 meters per second, and if you count special ship, which is the 037, which is like 1025 meters per second, that's an absurd amount of speed. It does say that they won't have that speed for shells in the game, but it will have the highest muzzle velocity in the game, so something at least past 1,000. So very interested to see how fast these guns are going to fire. So it'll be a good AA defense ship and potentially a good long-range HE spammer too, depending on what kind of shell she has. Who knows? So it says it'll have very high muzzle velocity, very high fire rate, low alpha damage, so potentially like a very souped up, what was that ship? That AA ship. The Tiger C-21, I'm pretty sure it was, or something about that. I forget what I renamed her in my game, but you know, it's the one with the 2 Minotaur turrets at like tier 7. It's utter garbage as a diamond ship. There's no doubt that Glue Sister, or however you pronounce that, will have the most powerful basic anti-air firepower in the game. The 144 mils, or a 5.68 inch caliber, which is the interesting part, will be counted as middle ring anti-air, and the 102mm secondaries, the 4-inch ones, will be counted as inner ring anti-air for matching the high fire rate and avoid the waste of high alpha damage. So extremely powerful AA. I don't actually have like details about them or what her matchmaking is or what her torpedoes are. That's still work in progress, but very interesting. Like I said, it says similar characteristics of the British light cruiser armor piercing as well. So that's good because their armor piercing is very good. So we know she has high explosive and armor piercing then. So no special shells, but that's fine. So here are like some pictures of the guns and stuff, which are very interesting. And then let's see if I can zoom in on some of these. All right, so here is that picture I just showed you of, I believe that's potentially the 4-inch gun. I don't know actually, but here's another example. So this is some pictures of the ship. So as you can see here, it is the Minotaur hull. The secondaries along the side are different. You don't have the twin 3.7s. I'm not sure. Anyway, they're still no, they were 3-inch guns. I think they're 76s. But the main guns are the 144s. You still have 2 barrels per turret, but you only have 4 turrets. And then your secondaries have these really high-placed 4-inch mounts. I don't really like the pyramid structure the way they have it, but I guess you can use all 6 of them facing forward. So maybe they'll have some kind of decent secondary use, but then again, it's like, it's a light cruiser. You don't really want to be that close. And then here is a picture from further back. So you have the 2 gun turrets in the front, 2 gun turrets in the stern. You do have, 8 torpedoes on each side. They're not in the same space as Minotaur. You have 1 amidships and then 1 farther astern near Charlie turret. And then you have the secondaries placed in a very weird manner. I really don't like the 2 secondary 4-inch just at the very top. It looks very weird to me, but you know what? We get what we get. And AA ship, yes please, sign me up. Let's go. Let's knock down all the planes. So that is an upcoming ship. Be very interesting to see how she actually ends up being and what her stats are. Alright, next update. This came out June 15th. We have a sister ship or camo of the British destroyer Loyal. To me, that is Lightning. It's an interesting camo, not one of my favorites necessarily, but it is the 2nd British destroyer camo we have. We have Gallant and Glowworm, and then we also have Defender as another camo. So those are nice. There's additional research control or fire control for Tashkent and Grozovoy. I could do another video on it if you really want to, but all it does is give you about like an extra 1.5 kilometers of range if you go with the guns that give you the increased fire percent, which are the ones I've already done a video on, and which are the ones I will run the ships with for all future games. So it gives you the increased fire chance and a little bit more range. It's pretty nice, but nothing too major. Some balancing issues here. Some destroyers had some concealment work as well. You can read that there. And just a couple other mopping up some loose ends. So nothing really substantial in this update except the new camo. Alright, this update, June 22nd, 2 sister ships of Mogami are available. I've renamed them Mikuma and Suzuya, which are 2 of the sister ships of the Mogami class, because the last one, Kurama, is actually my sister ship of Ibuki, so I can't really use that one. They are pretty nice. Mikuma for me is going to be a green camo, and then Suzuya, which is actually one of my favorite camos or for that class, is a white and gray camo. We'll take a look at both of them, and you can decide which one you want, and or you can get both of them. New Decoration Dockyard. This is interesting, actually. You do have to upgrade it fully. This is a decoration where you have to buy, well, for me so far, I found out 3 parts. 2 of them you can buy with diamonds, and 1 of them I had to buy with prisms. But after you buy all 3 parts, you can actually see upcoming ships in the dry dock that are like not even released for testing. So for me, you actually can see a couple of the models for the French destroyers already. And we can certainly take a look at that back in the port. That's why I have my actual port and not just the harbor or whatever I usually have. So like I said, we'll go and take a look at that in a moment. And then there's some dockyard packs and stuff like that. Hakaze's in the arena pool. Okay, this is the auto firing button. I will explain this more in depth in actual gameplay. I will have a few games today, actually. I'll have one with the destroyer. I'll have one with a cruiser. I don't think I'll have one with a battleship because the auto fire doesn't really work with them. I mean, it can, but it'll be more hassle than it's worth, honestly. And I'll explain why that is. Let's see. So they had some changes to Hakaze, as you can see here. Not much. It does say that they no longer show the first name of the crew, only show the last name and adjust some last names. I've only looked at 1 ship crew, and that had not been applied. But there was also a new ship that just came out, so this new crew thing may not have applied to the new ship yet. Who knows? Doesn't really matter to me. Okay, moving on. Alright, we're almost done. June 29th, we have another camo, British carrier Indomitable, which is actually a prism carrier. I have renamed her Formidable because that is the last illustrious class carrier I have as a name. I have Illustrious, I have the original Indomitable, I have Indomitable's camo, which is Formidable, and then Victorious is another prism ship. And that counts all 4 ships of the Illustrious class. So I'm running out of names, so if we ever actually get a camo for Illustrious, we'll have to make one up. But that's fine. There's some changes to New Mexico and Imperial, and some aircraft changes to Essex, Hiryu, and then Trafalgar actually got a pretty good update as well. Main battery rate from 16 RPM to 18 RPM. Now Trafalgar is an event ship, so if you don't already have her, it doesn't really make any difference to you. But for those of you who do, you'll notice that she is pretty much a Jutland or a tier 9 destroyer at a tier 8 matchmaking, and the 5th gun is a secondary. It's the only destroyer with a secondary gun. So you have just 2 twin 114mm turrets at the front, which is actually a downgrade compared to ships like Legion and Lightning, which have bigger guns and more of them. So an increase in fire rate is pretty nice if I do see it myself. Alright, July 6th update, we had a new Italian battleship be previewed. It was named Raphael. It was a tier 9. It's pretty much like a souped up Veneto with 16-inch guns. That is one of the ships we'll be going over in the next coming days. For the next 9 days, I have videos planned out, so we'll have videos for each of those days. And Raphael is going to be one of them. So we'll take a look at her in port today, but we won't actually have any gameplay until her own video. But you can still see all her stats and stuff in the game, and she's actually pretty good. She's the current event ship as well. I did mention at the beginning there isn't a current event out there, and Raphael is the top prize. She's actually a really good top prize with this surprising gameplay I found out. So I'll talk more about that once we get back to the game. But let's go over the route tech tree here, or the news. Some changes to Coral Sea, which is for me going to be what is it? FDR, Roosevelt. So it looks like we have a little bit of changes there. Hakaze has even more changes. She's still probably work in progress, I guess you could say. Her stats are still subject to change from what they are even now. Some changes to Project 21, which is Lenin. Changes to Project 23, which is Vladivostok. Some changes to Kronstadt, at least with the 15-inch guns. Nope, I'm kidding, I can't read. Those are the 12-inch. So actually the 12-inch, which is the ones I run with, actually have an increased rate of fire. That's pretty nice. I didn't really notice that. And then with the accuracy change that they've had to the cruisers 8.0 and above, Kronstadt's actually a lot better than she used to be. She can actually hit targets now because her accuracy, when fully built for accuracy, is just barely acceptable. And then some changes to the large cruiser advanced damage control. Yeah, so those are all changes that have been made. And I did promise you a second development dialogue. Here it is. This is also going to be one of those ones where if you want to read it, pause the video and actually read it. I read it. There's a few changes to, this is about the cruise skills that you can get for like levels 1, 2, and 3 and stuff like that. There's some minimal changes to percentages. The only real interesting thing that I found out is we are going to have a new skill that we can equip, I believe. Let me just check here. And actually I have to correct myself. It wasn't the crew skills at all. It was actually the modules you can put on the ship. I actually just skimmed this over today, so I didn't realize that. My apologies. But yeah, okay, so... Oh no, there is some crew changes. Okay, so I was both correct and incorrect. Anyways, so I'm just going to scroll through it slowly. You can pause it wherever you feel you need to read. These are the changes. But one thing that I did notice was that in the modules, so specifically slot 3, where usually you have increased AA range, you have increased secondary range, increased accuracy for your main guns, and increased rotation and reload for your main guns. And for certain ships, battleships in particular, at tier 9 and 10, increased damage for your AA guns. We now have a concealment module we can use, which is something that's in World of Warships but has never been in this game, except in terms of crew skill, which was nice but really didn't do much at all. But I'm very interested right here. Concealment system module, detectability -5%, incoming shell dispersion +5%, available for destroyers and battleships only, above 8.0 matchmaking. So destroyers will definitely benefit from it. Battleships, if you're a sneaky sniper battleship, concealment battleship build, you'll like this as well. Honestly, I don't see what the point is. You're a battleship, you're going to be seen. To me, there's no such thing as a sneaky battleship, but go for it if you like that. And then, so this will be what we can have for slot 1 after the rework, slot 2 after the rework, and slot 3 after the rework. And each of these is described as I mentioned in these, and you can always go back and read what these are. All right, the last one we have so far, and this is the most recent one. This came out yesterday because today's Thursday. So we now have a new event. It ends on August 17th. So we have about a month. So yeah, you can just read all this. Basically, the main reward is Raphael. You have a daily event mission. It costs 150 points of your fuel, which is literally every single drop. So you can only do it once a day, hence why it's called a daily mission. We'll do that tomorrow, but basically it's a copy paste of the Toulouse event. We go against a bunch of tier 8 ships and a couple tier 9 cruisers and a destroyer, and we have a UFO with 375,000 health. UFO, as you may be aware, is my least favorite event ship, but I was actually able to beat it yesterday fairly easy with H-42, and so we'll try and recreate that tomorrow when we go over it. But there's a twist. There that unlocks 4 additional missions. The first one, you can go up against H-45, which is the super Bismarck with 800mm gun turrets. We've seen her in the past. The next one is Tosa, which is the super Japanese dreadnought, which we've also had in the past one time. And then we have a Habakkuk, which is that ice carrier, which I actually really like. I don't think No, I do have a video of her, I think. I don't remember. Anyways, so we're going to do one of those. And then the last one is actually tied into a new camo that came out for Grozovoy, or Project 47. Now, we've actually already seen this camo before. We talked about it in the Yushen video, I'm pretty sure. I originally thought it was going to be a new ship released. That was the one that kind of looked like a Chinese destroyer. It had the 3 twin 130 mils for guns, and then I had the 2 quintuple torpedo mounts on the middle, and then a smattering of vertical launch systems and 37mm guns along the side. That was not a new ship, it was actually a new prism camo for Grozovoy, which actually is, yep, prism sister ship of Soviet destroyer Project 47. And then we have Raphael as the main reward for the event. You can see here, there's some prism packs available as well. Or, not prism packs, the coupons for the loot boxes. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get. The gold and iridescent ones. I would have gotten the iridescent ones, but there's not really much for me to win anymore, so it would just be throwing away money. I get a ton of free XP, let me tell you, but there is no real point for me to get them right now, so I am not going to, but I did get everything else. And then all prism ships, except Lining and a new super carrier, Kuznetsov, have a 15% discount right now. So if you're interested in buying a prism ship, now might be the time. And then all prism camouflages are down to 1500 prisms. So Super Yamato, what else do we have? We have the Alzis, the pink Alzis and the blue Alzis. We have Grozovoy now as a camo. And Midway, too. The Midway 1991 is a prism camo. So those are all on sale right now. We get some more gems for literally just playing the game. Those are nice. There's also an interesting sister ship of Kaga in the Rank Point shop. I like it and I don't like it all at the same time, and I will explain why that is once we actually look at it. And so, yeah. It does say that there's an anniversary present coming through the mail as well. However, I don't think I've received that yet, so just keep an eye out for that. And yeah, so we'll go over all the event missions, all the new camos, and today we're going to go over the auto fire function, and then we'll go over the new ships at the end. But let's go back to the game. Alright, so first things first, I guess we can go over camos. So let's see. Mogami. So Mogami has a new camo. This is Suzuya, the white camo. I really, really like it. It's really, really nice. And then we also have Mikuma for me, which is just a copy-paste Ibuki camo. It's not a bad camo, but I do like the unique ones, so I choose to run with Suzuya. As with all camos, there's no actual change to the ship, except its outward appearance, which is very, very nice. So that is Mogami. What else did we have? Anything here? No. No, I do know we had a couple new British camos. We have Loyal, which is my sister ship now for Lightning, because I don't have another one I can use. This is the new camo for Loyal. As I mentioned, it is interesting. It's not bad, but doesn't really stand out as being one of the best camos, I think. We also have Indomitable, or aka Formidable. This is the camo for Indomitable. It is actually pretty nice. I do enjoy it. However, I don't enjoy playing the ship, so she just normally sits on my port. What else do we have? We have Kaga. We can go back to Kaga here. Let me show you the sister ship. It is very interesting. You turn into it like a helicopter cruiser from the Avengers. You have these giant fans. You can even go in them if you really wanted to, like this. Cool. The colors of the camo are very nice. I do enjoy it, and the aircraft actually don't look that bad on this kind of ship. That being said, why they decided to go with something like this is questionable, but there we go. We have a new camo for Kaga. Now, Kaga can be earned by friend points or bought with prisms, but the camo itself is rank points, which I'm not a fan of buying camos with rank points until I have all my rank point ships. So this one will not be a camo I have for quite some time, but there you go, you have it. What else we have? We had one further camo that is for the Grozavoy. Now, like I said, we already have seen the ship, but this is the camo, and it is actually very nice. Cool thing about this ship, these vertical launch missiles that I told you that it'd be really funny if they actually worked. Well, guess what? They actually work, believe it or not. It's just an animation, so there's no actual bonus to you launching these missiles, but when your anti-aircraft guns fire, these ones specifically act like CWIS and just have the continuous stream from their barrels, but you also have like little missiles that launch up and have smoke trails and just race in a random direction, but they are really cool to watch. And we'll see that in the video that we do on the event where we actually use this specific ship. That won't be until about 5 days from now, though, so do keep that in mind. There is a nice little helicopter in the deck, which is awesome. You think, cool, this is another destroyer we can use with aircraft. However, Grozavoy doesn't normally get a helicopter, and therefore the prism camo doesn't make any change to the way the ship is normally played, so the helicopter just sits on the deck. It doesn't actually take off. You can't use it. It just sits there. I don't know if you can shoot through it or not, though. I haven't tried that. I've only had one game with her with the new camo. So those are the new camos. Now there is some new ships that I have now as well. I guess you can look at Kuznetsov. That is the newest super carrier. It's literally just a copy-paste Liaoning, which is already a strong ship in the game. However, there are some slight changes. She has no anti-ship missiles. She has fighters, and she has dive bombers. Now, the dive bombers are really strong. I was able to do like 530,000 damage in the one game I played with her so far. The fighters, well, actually, all the aircraft are really fast. No complaints about the reload speed of the aircraft. The AA is amazingly strong for a ship. It's actually absurdly strong. Base AA defense of 240. Look at this damages right there. 413 at 8 kilometers. 310 at 5. 344 at 2.4. I do have her fully AA buff though, so do keep that in mind. But an interesting thing is her consumables. She doesn't get radar. She gets a smoke screen. Not quite sure why, but it is kind of useful when you're under attack by, well, aircraft. If you're in a smoke screen, they have trouble finding you, or at least they should, and shouldn't be able to drop. But then again, I've been in a smoke screen and have been dive bombed with complete accuracy before, so I'm not really sure how that mechanic really works, but it at least tries to help protect you. With my speed buffs, the ship is actually very, very fast as well, and she actually outruns her own smoke screen, but it does last quite a bit of time. And we also have increased damages here for our AA. Yeah, look at that. Okay, anyways, so Kuznetsov, first ship that we'll be going over in the near future. Next one is Raphael. Now, you may have heard me tell you it's the event reward, and here she is. We have triple 16-inch guns, we have triple 6-inch, we have twin 90 mils, and we have quite a few of them actually. You can see the ship here. We even have an aircraft at the back. It's just a slightly bigger Veneto. So here's Veneto for scale, and here's her. Actually, they might be pretty similar. In fact, she might be a little smaller. Regardless, an amazing ship. I actually really like her. interesting thing about her, and keep this in mind on whether or not you actually get her from the event, all of her secondaries fire armor piercing, the 6-inch and the 90 mils, which is different from Andre Doria and Vittorio Veneto because the 6-inch always fired high explosive, and the 90 mils were the ones that fired the high velocity armor piercing. However, on Raphael, it's slightly different, and those 6-inch also fire armor piercing. And believe it or not, she's a good brawler. Her Citadel's very much below the waterline. She's even tankier, I would feel, than Veneto. And Veneto's already one of the strongest ships in the game. Her 16-inch guns are actually stronger than Yamato's 18-inch guns in terms of armor-piercing damage if on a Citadel, max damage, and completely outclassifies every other Tier 9 battleship armor-piercing shell. I'm pretty sure I did just a cursory check, so I might have missed one, but out of all the ones I checked, yeah, these shells actually hit almost as hard as H-44 480mm guns, the 19-inch ones. So it's absurd amount of damage you can do with these. Add to that her really, really good armor scheme, and well, she has turtleback and a low underwater citadel and armor-piercing secondaries. She's very, very strong. Her AA, I haven't had much of a chance to try the AA, but I'm not going to be too surprised if it's kind of garbage. There does have to be some kind of drawback with a ship. Alright, so we have that ship, and I now had finally enough rank points to get another rank point ship, which we'll be also going over. I now have all of the Russian ships, or Soviet ships, however you want to say it. I now have Moskva, or Project 66. I have put in all of my free XP into upgrading her crew, and she is very, very fun. I do only have the one game in her so far because I was anxious to try all the other ones that I got today. But we will be able to go over another rank point ship. Yay! Because as of right now, we only have Cheyenne and Rhode Island. And there's still Charlemagne, there's still Timmerman. What else is there? Oh, there's Hakaze now. None of those are... Or there's also FDR. So we still have quite a few to go over, but I do have another one. So I'm excited about that. I've been looking forward to her since she came out. So that's nice. Okay, dry dock. I did promise you we were going to look at the decorations. Before that, one of the rewards for the event is a little crayfish buddy. It just spins in a circle. You can see all the decorations in my port. I have quite a few of them. And that's why I tend to use my other map, because it kind of gets busy here. But yeah, the crayfish gives you a little bit more speed, which is always nice. I do enjoy speed. Now, the dry dock. Let's take a look at the dry dock. Here we go. So you can see 0 out of 3 at the bottom. I'm not sure if I can actually upgrade this even more. I did check everywhere I could purchase things. I didn't see any, but that could be coming in future updates. But as of right now, this is what the dry dock is, with all 3 parts, well, together. So this is as much as I can zoom in, unfortunately, but you can see the beginnings of a couple of the French ships. Now, this one is going to be potentially the one at Tier 8. I don't remember the names off the top of my head, but it has the same kind of armament as Le Fantasque, and it also has the triple tube amidships and 2 twin torpedo tubes on the sides. So if you go back to that Developmental Dialogue video, you can figure out what ship this is. And then this one, the one in front, that is, doesn't have any guns, but it has 2 triple torpedo tubes on the side and 2 twin torpedo tubes on the side. So this one might actually be Mogador, which is one of my favorite destroyers, and I'm really, really looking forward to these destroyers. So if you don't already have the dockyard, it might be an interesting thing to check it out. Hopefully these actually change over time as well. It's not just going to be French destroyers. Maybe we'll even see that new British anti-aircraft cruiser eventually as well. So I'll have to keep an eye on it. If I notice anything different, I'll let you know, and I will make a video accordingly. Okay, so that is the dockyard. I think we finally have gone over enough that we can actually get to today's video. So I'm going to use 2 ships. I'm going to show off 2 camos as well. I'm going to use Lightning first, and then I'm going to use Mogami. So you can kind of get a mix of how the auto-firing sequence works on a destroyer, and then how it works on a cruiser. It doesn't really work on a carrier because you can't control the secondaries yourself anyways. And then battleships, I mean, you take a minimum of 20-ish seconds to reload anyways. In that time, you'll have plenty of time to figure out where you want to shoot exactly, and then let your shots go. Because if you have autofire on, and you accidentally fire a shot that you didn't need to, then that's 20 seconds minimum. You have to wait until your next one. So I'd only really recommend it for destroyers and cruisers, and I'm going to use it to show off these 2 camos. So I'm going to toss ourselves into a game and see what we can do here. Alright, we're about to get into a game. Let's see what we got here today. Quite a few battleships, a couple cruisers, and some destroyers. No carrier, that's fine with me. Even though Lightning does have pretty strong AA for a destroyer, it's not necessarily her strong suit, so it's okay. Now I have adjusted the layout of my buttons on my screen, as you've probably noticed by now. The autofire is up here at the top right above the auto-firing for the secondaries and AA guns. Hopefully there will be a change. So like, let's say my AA guns and secondaries are auto-firing right now. That shows because it flashes on and off, and then if I turn it off, it stops flashing. However, we don't have that function for auto-fire. Also not sure why there's all my harbor decorations here, but that's fine. Interesting, but fine. Yeah, we're gonna ignore that. So when you select auto-fire, it doesn't actually give you any indication it's on. You just have to know it's on, which you'll know because your guns will be firing. But yeah. Oh look, I see the crayfish. Cool. Yeah, so this sometimes happens. I don't really know why, but the opposing ships will just sail right through it without an issue. So we're just going to keep going this way. Alright, so Loyal. Did not check my torpedo range, but British destroyers don't normally use their torpedoes all that much, or at least not in my sense. We're going to use a speed boost as well. We probably should have already done that, but that's fine. How fast are we going to be going? 52.3 knots. God, I love speed boosts and speed buffs. Okay, we're going to turn our AA off, actually. Well, doesn't matter. There's no carriers, so we're just going to leave it on. Even if I don't do well this game, I'm still just going to show you what the AA, or the auto-firing does. Alright, so you'll notice when I click the fire button, because it'll turn a different color, as you can see here. And then I have the reload. So this is me just continuously tapping on the screen. You've probably seen that in some other videos before. Yeah, cool. Alright, now, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pop a smoke screen here. And I'm going to tap, tap, tap. I just pressed auto fire. Now, I know you can't tell, but if you look at the fire button, it is no longer continuously changing color. It is just immediately firing the guns, which is exactly what I wanted to do. Now I can even zoom out, I can look around. Actually, I don't know if I can switch targets and have it keep going. Does it keep going? Yes, it does. Cool. So I can switch targets and just keep firing just left and right. Now your accuracy might not be the best if you do that, but if you just go like this, and you just continuously whittle down the ship, you can switch to armor piercing, and as soon as armor piercing is loaded, all 3 of the turrets fire. I do like the staggered turrets, so I would probably fix that. I would like exit auto fire. So I'm pressing auto fire again. I'm now out of auto fire, and as you can see, they stopped firing automatically. I'm going to switch back to high explosive. Are we in torpedo range? It looks like it. We actually are. Maybe it's 8 kilometers. Who knows? I don't want to be on fire. No, thank you, Bismarck. So we're going to try... Nope, we can't even torpedo the Amagi. Our torpedoes are too slow. Well, we're going to get behind the island to protect ourselves from... Actually, Bismarck just ran aground. So we are going to use our torpedoes. But she's also going to put a big dent in us, which is not enjoyable. Amagi set us on fire. That's fine. Damage control is up in about 10 seconds. And we actually might end up nailing Amagi instead, but that's fine with me. Yep, we're going to fix those fires. We do have 30,000 health because I have health buffs and speed buffs applied. So do keep that in mind. I don't know if the auto fire works on the torpedoes, nor am I actually willing to find out unless I'm on a low tier destroyer. Yeah, Amagi's gone. Goodbye. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Already on fire again. The problem with Bismarcks. Okay, well now we're out of secondary range because it's 7.0. And we're going to pop another smoke screen. Gonna press auto fire. Gonna repair. Knocked out a main gun. Nice. Alright, so auto fire is now back on. I'm going to make sure I don't hit King George V over there. Okay. So I'm not actually shooting. Okay. Bismarck went down, so I quit my auto fire. And now we're going to get into a position where we can shoot this other Bismarck as well. But yeah, there's no indication when you press auto fire besides it going or clicking on and off that you're using it. So as of right now, auto fire is on and now it's off. But other than that, you actually have to pay attention. Smoke screen is being wasted here, but I don't really care. Can't shoot Bismarck from here. What else do we have on the enemy team? Amagi, King George, Sverdlov, Lefantask, and Ustrashimi. Okay, well, Ustrashimi is over there, as well as literally every other ship. So we're making our way there. One of the Sverdlovs just went down. That's nice. How much time before we run into an island? Not too much time. Can try and launch some shells over there. Gonna auto fire. Dunk. Get a few more damaging hits here and there. The island is going to cover it up pretty soon, and we're gonna stop right there. This is very interesting to see. Can we actually go through these? I want to go see if we can go through it. Alright, let's auto fire and work over this Nostrashimi. Now I am spotted, obviously, so she's going to be turning. But when I'm auto firing, I don't have to keep continuously sliding with one thumb and then firing with another. I can just have it fire and then have my thumb free to adjust my aim as need be. Can I shoot over that? No, but I hit the top. Okay. So we don't actually have a lot of health here. Wait, can I see the... Hold on. I want to see these French destroyers better. Interesting. Okay, cool. So I'm just going to go straight through my decorations. We're going to ignore that. I'm getting distracted. Alright, back to the game here. New thrash in me. Doink, doink, doink. Auto fire. And then we just sit back. We're actually capping the base as well. Oh. I didn't want her to do that. So we're just going to switch to Sverdlov. And we should be able to finish off Sverdlov, assuming no one else does, but that's fine if they do. Cap the base, getting some hits on Sverdlov before she gets out of range. Though I am having trouble hitting her with the shell velocity. But she should be going down pretty soon. And Isavo now. There we go. Okay, cool. Wow, it took a lot longer than I expected. This thrashing me is still up. That's fine. Oh, there's the backfire. Okay, so there are still 4 ships left. King George, Amagi, Lefantask, and Ustrashimi. You already know Ustrashimi's over there. King George is right here, and Amagi. Don't really want to deal with either of them right now with my low HP. So we're going to toss a few shells downrange. You know what, let's toss a few torpedoes as well, because I think Amagi might turn in. Then I saw Lefantask, she is pretty low. I don't know if that's good. No, she's reversing. But you know what? Let's come back. Torpedoes are going to take a minute to reload because I don't think those are actually going to hit. That's fine. Nostrashimi is all the way over there. She is heading back though. Could try and launch some shells her way. See, this is me actually firing, not auto-firing. But I don't think I'm going to get anywhere close to her anyways. I could if I really tried, but right now I have 2 battleships a lot closer to me. Yeah, you know what, heck it. Let's go. Auto-fire. And she's gone. Cool. Hello, Amagi. Please go away. Is anyone else spotting this ship? Nope, they're all behind me. Cool. So I can't smoke up. Or at least not yet. Though, honestly, that Bismarck might be able to spot her now. So we're going to do this and auto-fire. And try and get some high explosive damage on her. Potentially light some fires, though stock Amagi is actually really hard to light fires on because there's barely any superstructure. So I got one. See if we can get any more. There's King George that came around the corner as well. We're actually going to send out our torpedoes for her, because I think my team will be focusing on the Amagi. Oh, I was still firing my guns. So she'll go down pretty quickly with all that focus fire. And in fact, we could actually probably switch to armor piercing at this point. We did get a couple fires on her, which is nice. Well, let's see what armor piercing can do. Not terrible, not the best. There we go. Are those torpedoes any good? 1, 2. We're going to switch to armor piercing and auto fire here. I'm out of my smoke screen, but I'm not going to be shot at. So it's fine if I just chill here for a little bit. And then just keep auto firing armor piercing into the side of this King George. A little bit of damage at a time. High explosive might actually be better, but it's fine. Let's try it. Though she does have 2 fires on her now. And they're just shattering. Yeah, going back to armor piercing. And she should be done. Okay, time to go find the Lefantask. Never mind, she found me. And she's hurting me a lot. Okay, so let's auto fire and finish her off here. She is very quick. I forgot how quick she is. And there we go. Cool, so that was a destroyer with auto fire. Very, very nice, very effective, especially when you're trying to hit a moving target. If you just set auto fire, all you have to worry about is aiming. You don't have to focus on firing at the same time. So 180,000 damage, 7 ships sunk, 324 shell hits, 8 torpedo hits, 3 aircraft shot down, 3 citadels, 4 fires, 2 floodings, 1 capped base, 1 assisted cap. Cool. We're not really here to go over lightning though. So the final video I'm going to show you is on cruisers. Now, Gami is actually probably one of the better cruisers to use auto fire on. So we're going to toss ourselves into a game with the 155 mils. Alright, let's see what kind of video we have for our last game of today. We do have a carrier this time. We have a Leon, a Nelson, a Sinop, a Gano, 2 Chapayevs, a Suzuya, a Kitsushima, and a Leningrad. So a good old 7.0 matchmaking game, which we're kind of top tier in that case then. Again, the nice camo. I do have health buffs and speed buffs applied, so this is not the normal Mogami. For some reason, my ornaments are still here. Interesting. And let's start heading out. This auto fire feature is pretty nice in certain instances, but you have to keep track of it because if you end up firing your guns when you don't need to, you can either give yourself away, you can waste a round and you have to wait for the reload, and depending on what ship you're using, the reload may be too long for you to actually, well, even survive. If you have auto fire on and you use a battleship, which it does work on battleships, mind you, you might have to wait around until your guns reload, which sometimes can be up to 30 seconds, sometimes even longer. I'm pretty sure the base reload for Veneto is like 45 seconds or so. It was some god-awful number that I got down as much as I could. And it still takes quite a while. Alright, so we're getting to a position to attack. Oh, that's the rocket. Okay. I was wondering what that was. Leningrad now has a heal as well. Maybe we should do another video on her. Alright, so we have a couple ships up here. I don't have a smoke screen because I'm not a destroyer or a British light cruiser, so we can't do what we did last game where we just sat on the smoke screen and fired, but that's fine. One cool thing you can do though is alternate fire your turret auto fire, because when they fire it'll also be alternate. Alright, so we got a few good shots into the Leningrad there, but we're gonna switch targets to this Chapayev because why not. Alright, so we're going to ripple fire our turrets, auto fire, and then just let them keep going. This will be very handy on ships like Cheyenne and Atlanta, where ripple firing is actually one of your best bets. So you just kind of sit here and just chill out and auto fire your turrets and do a ton of damage that way. Cool. Alright, so auto fire is disabled. Let's go back to salvo firing here. We can send some shells towards Lyon. Though actually Sinop is pretty much closer, but let's see if we can get a fire or two on Lyon so she can burn a little before we have to deal with her again. Same with Nelson in a minute, though they might hit each other. Yep, but Leon's got a fire. Let's see if we can do the same with Nelson. Okay, so we're too far away from that. That's fine. What else do we have? You shoot at me, you did. Alright. Ooh, that Chapayev got immediately pretty much deleted. We could always just rush with our torpedoes for laughs. And there goes that Chapayev. Okay, so we have the Kitsushima on that side. Oh, okay, so here's a good chance to use armor piercing. And we have a nice broad side of the Sinop. So we're actually we're already on auto fire, though she is already angling. That's upsetting. That was pretty good, but it's not going to be good enough. Let's switch back to high explosive here and actually exit auto fire because we now have bigger fish to fry, such as the Leon and the Nelson. I actually might not survive this, but let's just go for it because if I do, it'll be awesome. I'm going to switch to armor piercing because high explosive shatters on the Kitsushimas and armor piercing just kind of overpens. We're going to switch to auto fire as well. Already forgot that. Yep, see, overpens. But if you overpen her enough, you'll still sink her. Doo-doo, 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 doo-doo. And there we go, cool. Okay, so the Nelson's over there, so that's good. I only have to deal with one battleship at a time. But I'm thinking we should actually... You in torpedo range? Kind of. Well, you're in range, but whether I can actually hit you or not is a different question. And the launch torpedoes towards you, angle away from you, and focus on the carrier because I feel like that is the biggest threat to me right now. Yes, Leon is going to hurt a lot if she actually hits me and citadels me. However, Mogami does not have very good anti-aircraft defenses. Even though she has a defensive AA, it's pretty much just for show. So we need to eliminate the carrier. I am in auto fire, mind you. So you can see how effective it is. All I have to do is focus on aiming. Getting one torpedo hit, it looks like. Better than nothing. And we're just completely demolishing this cruiser, carrier. And there it is. Cool. Now, what are we going to focus on? Let's send one parting salvo towards Leon. We'll deal with her later. Now we get to focus on Nelson. So that is just a bit too much angle for my armor piercing to do anything. As you can see, there's... Oh, we actually had some... You know what? I'm going to knock these planes up. Yeah, so our armor piercing is going to just bounce off right now. That's fine. We can always YOLO with torpedoes. Let's actually just go back to high explosive. Auto fire is on. And aiming for the superstructure because that is the best part to shoot right now. And auto fire off. Down. Leon. I'm going to switch to armor piercing, though she is already angling back in. We're going to fit right through this gap here. Auto fire on. Let's see if we can get some good nose hits here. She's very squishy in the nose right now, though she is broadside, so she's squishy everywhere. But the least chance of ricocheting is right at the flattest part, which right now is near the bow. Let's pop another heel, because why not? And those torpedoes are going to finish her off. Auto fire off. And yeah, so that is auto fire on a cruiser. Very effective in certain instances, but the longer the reload, the more a misfire could actually have a negative impact on you. Alright, so quick game. 161,000 damage, 3 ships sunk, 301 shell hits, 1 torpedo hit, 9 aircraft shot down, 5 citadels, 5 fires, 1 flooding, 1 module destroyed, 4 defended caps, and 12 secondary hits. Pretty good game. Not terrible. Not the best. With that, I will now finally finish off this video. We've been almost an hour now, but we've gone over all the updates that have come before this. We've looked at some of the new camos. We're looking at some of the new ships. that we're going to be going over. One last thing I can show you is the event. So the everyday challenge is the one I told you about, where you have the UFO, and then you have H-45, Tosa, Habakkuk, and you have a high-speed experience level, which is the one that we find the new Grozovoy sister ship in, which is renamed Udoloy. So we'll do those all in due time, but today was just to go over the auto-firing function. So thank you for watching, and stay posted for the next few days while we go over all of those new event missions, or past event missions, I should say, and then we're also going to go over the new ships. So again, thank you so much for watching, and take care.